Today, I'm not just going to be talking about the Call of Duty community. I'm going to be talking about all gaming communities. Whether you enjoy Battlefield, Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch, Red Dead Redemption, GTA, it doesn't matter what game you enjoy. We're going to be talking about all of us today. Now, I did some self-reflecting, just looking back on myself and how I used to be. Especially looking back at some of my older videos as well. That's probably the best part about YouTube. And a lot of people who are getting into YouTube, I've said multiple things to other people, like maybe deleting a channel is good, maybe it's not. But honestly, at this point, I really miss all the videos that I did delete. I deleted like 200, 300 plus videos of my content. It's crazy to think about, but really looking back on it, you're going to miss what you made, and you should always keep the content that you have put up on this platform just so you can at least look back on it, because you never know. One day, YouTube might just delete it by themselves anyways, so you might as well have it for as long as you can, so you can reflect back and see how you used to be when you were making content, or just when you were younger. But looking back on my content, it really never seemed like I was satisfied with any of these games. Content-wise, I was always wanting more. And if it wasn't anything coming out, the game in a blink of an eye is boring. It's nothing to talk about. It's not fun anymore. But then I really think back to games like Modern Warfare 2 or Call of Duty 4, Call of Duty World at War, or Call of Duty Black Ops 1. These titles, I think Black Ops 2 as well, but these titles were extremely basic, bare bones. If you think about it, compared to the games that we have nowadays, there was no content. You got your weapons, you got a set amount of skins, you got your maps, and then sometimes you could purchase DLC map packs depending on the game. But for Call of Duty, yes, you could always pay for DLC map packs. But that was it. Back in Call of Duty 4 World at War, I don't remember any Halloween events, or Christmas events that were coming around, or summer events that would bring a bunch of new camos, new styled maps, and new weapons, or even, like I was just saying, new weapons, just adding in weapons down the line throughout the year that the game is released, having shops that you can constantly go into that are pretty much updated either weekly or every 2 weeks with brand new skins that are pretty much crafted by the developers who have made the game, emotes, skins, events, everything. Everything that we have nowadays, we didn't have back then. Yet for the full year, we still enjoyed the game. And the main complaints that you would hear from a bunch of YouTubers or anything like that back in the day was just mechanics about the game. Things that were game-breaking or annoying during the experience. That's what you would hear about any old-school Call of Duty title or any old-school title in general. You wouldn't be hearing about ridiculous, $20 price skins on your weapons, or, about brand new weapon DLCs that were added into the game, and if they were paid to win, how overpowered they were, that you had to cough up money to get it. Yet we survived the full year of playing those games. And we enjoyed the full year of playing those games. And we dealt with not having any more skins for our guns. Sometimes in these older Call of Duty games, like let's say Modern Warfare 2, you grinded for fall camo. But the fun, the replayability of the game was the prestige system back then. Because then you would have to re-grind back up through the camos and re-grind back up through the attachments. It gave you something to play and continue grinding for. And we were happy back then doing that. We literally did that for the full year. We just continued to re-grind for our camos, re-grind for our attachments, or some people were just happy at being at level 55 and just playing the game, and just trying to do challenges and stuff like that. So have we as a community become spoiled? And not just like, an average spoiled, like a extremely toxic spoiled, like we are spoiled brats almost. Because just take a moment and think like you were one of the devs who were creating these games. Like seriously, you have been making Call of Duty your whole life. You might have been a part of making Call of Duty 4, and maybe World at War, whatever it was. You made video games back then, and you're still making video games now. And back then, without all of the stresses of having to keep a store open, or without all the stresses of having to continuously update your game, because people will hate on it if you don't. Can you imagine how they think of us? I never really thought of it like that because I've just, kind of come accustomed to the fact that things are just released so frequently now. Back then, like I said, we weren't like that because we didn't have anything like that. But as times changed and things continued to change with their games and new microtransaction models have released, we are just accustomed to seeing stuff every so often, almost on a weekly basis. We want to see new content from these games, which, sometimes you didn't even see that. For the full year, you wouldn't see any new content like that, or any updates. And it kind of sucks to think that devs have to work in that type of environment. They have to work in an environment where they're crafting this video game, but they have to be more stressed about keeping it up to date with content than over actually making it good and playable. Back then, their main focus was just polishing off the game and making sure things weren't too OP or too obnoxious. And even way back then, they didn't worry about making anything too OP. What they put in the game was it. They wouldn't buff, they wouldn't nerf. You buy the game, that's what you're going to be playing for the full year. You dealt with it. And now, they have to be worried about their game being criticized or dumped on or even sold because they aren't putting enough things in their title. And with this new Call of Duty Modern Warfare game that's coming out, they're not bragging about really any of the new innovations, but they're mostly just bragging about how much content the game has, how many game modes it has, how it has ground war included. It's just bragging about how much content is in this game, how many weapons are in the game, how many skins are going to be in the game. They're bragging about how much stuff is going to be in this game. They're not bragging about the cool new feature that's going to be in the title, or bragging about the fresh new animations. Now, if you do go check out some, more behind-the-scenes interviews with some of the actual staff that works at Infinity Ward who are working on the game, you'll see that they're very passionate about this title. Seriously, they are loving this game, they love everything about it, and you can definitely feel the love that's in this game as well. But if we're just talking about main advertisement, for the mass majority of people to see, not you just, searching up on your own to go find the interview of these developers on your own time, but for Activision to push out these specific things so everybody knows about it, they want to know, and they want the mass majority of Call of Duty fans to know, that Call of Duty Modern Warfare is going to be jam-packed with content. I'm not mad about that. Nowadays, I'm pretty happy to see a Call of Duty game have all of these new, playable maps and all these new game modes and player counts that exceed over, 10v10s. It's pretty cool to see in a Call of Duty game. But to see that being one of the main selling points of this game that they're trying to make clear for a lot of players, it's kind of sad. I'm not going to lie, because gaming has changed. It just proves that gaming as a majority has changed from, it used to be such a fun thing to do, and it wasn't as popular. But now the industry is changing. It makes billions of dollars. Just as a whole industry in general, just the gaming industry makes billions of dollars. From when I was a kid to now, consoles are so big that you'll pretty much see a console in every household. And it's crazy to see that all these things are changing in the community, and that we as people have changed to want all this stuff, and I guess I can say becoming spoiled. And it makes you look at microtransactions a little differently as well, because if Black Ops 4 came out by the time, Call of Duty World at War came out, all those DLC weapons that you saw in the supply streams or behind the loot boxes and stuff like that wouldn't be in the game. The amount of submachine guns you saw in the game, the amount of assault rifles you saw in Black Ops 4, sniper rifles, I can say that averaged out to be about the same as a World at War game, content-wise. That would be it. We wouldn't see any new DLC weapons in Black Ops 4. We wouldn't see any new DLC maps in Black Ops 4 either, unless you want to pay for the, well, yeah, you could see more maps in Black Ops 4 because they do have the Black Ops Pass, just like they had the Season Pass in World at War as well, and all the other Call of Duty games. So when devs are designing microtransactions, do you think they honestly care? I mean, it seems like Infinity Ward does care about our feelings and how these pay-to-win weapons really do change up the experience of a video game. But if you think about it, those pay-to-win weapons, They kind of are giving us a chance with the loot boxes, as bad as that's saying, but they are, because back then, we wouldn't even see those weapons. It wouldn't be a chance of even experimenting with those pretty much designed weapons. You know, Battlefield fans, we haven't seen any content for a very long time when the game first released, and it was driving fans insane. Even though now, in its current state, I think it has good amount of content now, between the weapons and the maps. It's a pretty decent game to purchase. But back when it first released, I remember myself just moaning and groaning about how it's no maps, it's no content, it's no weapons. But you know, in the reality back then, we wouldn't really even see that much added into the game besides what we got. Rainbow Six Siege, you're constantly adding in new operators, constantly adding in new maps for new seasons, you're constantly adding in new skins, you're adding in new content all the time, and new events, everything. But back then, you wouldn't see that. You would just get the base game, and that's it. You didn't get any new operators. You wouldn't get any new maps. That's all you would get out of the game. Now you can say Rainbow Six Siege is a long-lasting game. It's been out for ages, so they need to have, you know, new content being released for it constantly to keep it alive. Yes, I do agree. That's how it works. But if you think of a game like CSGO, they made, what, I think like 2 to 3, I haven't been a big CSGO fan, so I don't know much about it, but I think they made about 2 to 3 different CSGO games, and that's about it. You know, they didn't need much else. You can get new skins and stuff like that, but the weapons are so basic. It's like, what, 2 main assault rifles that you would use, maybe I would say 3 to 4 if you want to branch out, but the AK and I believe the M4 is the name of the other rifle, but those are pretty much the only rifles you need, or I really see people using in any of the games, or maybe a sniper rifle. That's about it. And CSGO has been going on for ages now. Ages, years and years and years, definitely 10 times longer than Rainbow Six Siege has been out for. Now I just want to make this clear. I'm not trying to support microtransactions. I'm not trying to support pay-to-win methods. I'm not trying to, you know, go back into the dark ages where we didn't have any content and we had nothing to play. You know, like I said, I understand that this industry is evolving, and it's going from something that, you know, was a every once in a while type of thing to now kids are trying to become MLG athletes for Fortnite on a daily basis. You know, it's a really it's a regular thing that you see everywhere around the world. Like I said, it's one of the biggest industries in the world. So I'm not trying to sit here and hate on the games that are trying to, you know, make a profit or trying to keep fans entertained. I'm not trying to say, oh, let's make Fortnite so it's no new content. You know, they made a new map. No, they should not have made a new map. They should have kept the same map that they had from day one. You know, I'm not trying to push that weird kind of agenda. But I just think it's kind of weird that nowadays people really do get hurt when content isn't put out that quickly. You know, patience is key to a lot of these things, especially to the devs who are putting in a lot of time and work. And I don't know, it never really hit me to think that these guys are going through so much more than they used to when they were designing a video game. And to see all these videos of me just pushing them so hard to get stuff out. Now, like I said again, Battlefield 5 was a very rough situation. There wasn't much content in the game. And there's no battle pass for, not battle pass, that's a Call of Duty thing, season pass for the game either. So you're just pretty much fingers crossed that they would eventually update the game. But these developers just have so much more going on their daily schedule to keep a game alive. It's not how it used to be to keep a game alive. It's not just, you know, you made the game, you shipped it, and you called it quits and you moved on to the next game. No, they have to have dedicated teams who stick with the same title for years on end after they already released it, just to keep people to continue playing it. So yeah, I do think the gaming community is a little spoiled. I think we have, you know, grown a type of personality to where we want content, we want it consistently, and we want it right away. But this is my question to you. Do you think that this is just because, you know, times are changing, or do you think we are spoiled and we have just grown to want this stuff so often compared to how it used to be? Honestly, I'm torn in the middle. I don't know. I seriously don't know. I just think times are changing, and as you know, everybody in the world has now had a console, and they all have these games that we play on a daily basis. Billions of dollars are being racked in. I think we have just grown to want more stuff, because like I said, I didn't even notice I was feeling this way towards these games compared to the past games that we had back then. where we would play through the whole year without any content. You know, we just kind of evolved very slowly without even recognizing that we have got to this point. But make sure you go ahead down in the comment section and leave all of your opinions down below, because I'm very curious to see what you think about this topic that we've had today. But if you're new to the channel, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy this video, and hit that bell notification button as well if you want to be notified on all my recent uploads. Also, if you just want to chat with me or see some behind the scenes clips that I have going on here, you can follow me over on Twitter at JbowenDaMan, and also if you want to catch me live streaming, I am over on Twitch at JbowenDaMan as well. But thank you guys so much for checking out this commentary, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.